I grew up not knowing anything about health, and my family didn't, so I had a horrible diet. My name is Scott. I live in Santa Monica. I do try to keep to a healthy diet. My wife particularly keeps me to a healthy diet, and it's all about getting the best taste for the health. I love to barbecue. So in fact, tonight I'll be barbecuing some chicken that we will then cut up and put in a salad, cucumber, tomato, and my wife's dressing. That's a good question. I mean, first of all, obviously it's a balance. We try to minimize red meat. Actually, we've cut back on red meat significantly, typically relying on chicken and fish. Got to cut out the burgers and, of course, no fried food, which kills me a little bit because French fries are probably my favorite food other than pizza, which also has to go. It's a trade-off. I grew up not knowing anything about health, and my family didn't, so I had a horrible diet that included fast food, fried food. I was never introduced to fish. I would say that my diet now is diametrically opposed to what it was as a kid. Moving to California was a big thing, getting away from my family, meeting my wife, who is probably the healthiest eater I know, and it just developed. And I want to stick around for a while, and I'm retired now, and I want to have some fun. Well, my kids grew up knowing what's healthy. Whether they actually act upon it right now or not is a separate issue. They tend to do so more when they're with us than when they're not, and they fall into bad habits when they're not. But I take solace in the fact that they know better, and when it gets to the point when they're a little older and it starts mattering and it starts catching up with them, they'll at least know. Yeah, not too many. Once in a while, I'll treat us to a steak. That's one of my cheats. But other than that, I really try to avoid the stuff that's tempting that I shouldn't be eating. But also, during the pandemic, everyone needed a hobby. My wife directed me toward baking, which is a real problem when you're trying to stay healthy. Pizza is number one. I do like a good burger, but I also like some vegetables. I've learned how to make eggplant Parmesan without deep frying it and without breading it, and still get rid of that chewy texture, so I'm a big fan of eggplant. Fresh fruit, actually. I can't get a better dessert for me than fresh fruit. The one mistake I've always made, it can't be all or nothing. Especially when you start, you've got to phase it. You've got to do a little bit at a time. If you try to do all healthy, it'll never work. You'll end up backsliding and feeling worse for the effort and failing. A little at a time and a balance.